It's a sunny, yet cold, late April afternoon in West London in 2013. A penalty has just been awarded in the very last minute of the game here at Griffin Park, home of Brentford Football Club. And as you can see, it's a Brentford player lined up to take the decisive spot kick. However, this isn't any ordinary penalty. This penalty will decide the fate of 3 different football clubs all at the same time. Some of you may know what's about to happen next. Fans of these 2 clubs certainly know what will happen next. But in order to fully prepare yourselves for the next minute of action, we need to find the reason why this penalty is so important. Let's look at the game itself for a minute. This is the final match day of the 2012-2013 League One season. Here in West London, Brentford are playing host to Doncaster Rovers. With 45 games played, Brentford sit in 3rd place on 79 points, just outside the automatic promotion places, still in with a shout to gain automatic promotion on the final day, because they sit 2 points behind the team in 2nd, who just so happens to be Doncaster Rovers. Brentford come into this game knowing that only a win will do, and they can go to a place they haven't seen in a number of years. See, Brentford have not been in the 2nd tier, or the Championship as it's called, since 1993, when it was called the old 1st Division. Since then, they've been stuck in the 3rd Division for 17 out of the previous 20 seasons, with 3 trips to the basement in that time. If they're going to be promoted from this division, then they must do it automatically. Because Brentford, up until this point, have, to put it lightly, a horrendous playoff record. They really should have gone up automatically in 95, but because the Premier League decided to restructure and move from 22 teams to 20, this meant promotions were limited all the way down the Football League pyramid. Therefore, despite finishing 2nd, 4 points behind champions Birmingham City, Brentford had to enter the playoffs, where they fell to Huddersfield in the semi-finals on penalties. In 97, they spectacularly lost their final 4 games of the season to blow away their automatic promotion dreams to once again compete in the playoffs, where they lost to Crewe Alexandra in the final. After bouncing back from relegation to the 4th tier in 2002, Brentford were eerily in the exact same situation they find themselves here today. They entered a final day showdown with Reading at Griffin Park on the final day of the 01-02 season. Reading sat directly above them in the table, and like today, they knew it was a win and in scenario. Despite taking the lead in the game, Reading equalised through Jamie Curtin in the 77th minute to dump Brentford into the playoffs, where they lost to Stoke in the final. In 2005, they were in the playoffs again, but lost both semi-final legs to Sheffield Wednesday. The very next season, Brentford once again threw away automatic promotion by winning just one of their final 7 games from 2nd position in the league. They ended up falling at the semi-final stage to Swansea City. So anything but a win here today, and you can put your house on the line that Brentford won't go up in the playoffs. On the other hand, Doncaster are looking for an immediate return to the Championship after a 4-year spell in the league was interrupted due to relegation. But for Donny to have spent 4 years in the Championship is in of itself nothing short of a miracle. In the exact same time period as Brentford, Doncaster Rovers have had an eventful time of it. Between 93 and 97, Rovers were a lower mid-table 4th division side with a treacherous owner at the helm. Owner Ken Richardson pumped money into the team with the hopes of having a new stadium built. But when he was denied a stadium by the council, he withdrew all funding into the team, which led to Rovers going into administration. After selling most of their best players, Rovers finished the 97-98 season as officially the worst team in the Football League history in the 3-point era. 20 points and a negative 83 goal difference. Doncaster spent 4 seasons in the conference before winning promotion through the playoffs in 2003 through a golden goal. They bettered that feat the very next year when they returned to the Football League, winning the 3rd division ahead of the likes of Hull City and Torquay United. And arguably Doncaster Rovers' biggest achievement yet came in 2008, beating Yorkshire Giants Leeds United in the League One playoff final. The 12-13 season itself was full of ups and downs for both Brentford and Doncaster. In pre-season, Brentford were taken over by Matthew Benham, a long-time investor into the club who helped Brentford financially when they were struggling in 2007. Oh, and a bonus, he's a lifelong fan too. Despite the takeover, Brentford still had to rebuild the squad, bringing in players such as Harley Dean, Stuart Dallas and Adam Forshaw in the summer. Then bringing in Marcelo Trotter on loan from Fulham to help Clayton Donaldson. Remember this guy, he'll become very important later on. Whilst competing at the top of the league, Brentford went on a cup run that took them to the 4th round against Chelsea, taking the West London Giants to a replay. In fact, Brentford went to a replay in the 2nd and 3rd round too, creating a backlog of fixtures into April, where, with an average record away from home, Brentford had 5 of their final 7 fixtures away from home, winning just once, as you'd expect. Doncaster brought in experienced heads in Rob Jones, Billy Painter, David Cotterill and Andy Griffin to go alongside the ever-present James Coppinger and Tommy Spur. Under the management of Dean Saunders, Rovers lost just once away from home heading into the new year in the playoff places. Then suddenly, Saunders left for the Wolves job in the Championship, leaving their current scout, Brian Flynn, who hasn't been a full-time manager of a senior team in 9 years, in charge for the remainder of the season, assisted by none other than Rob Jones. Remarkably, they never faltered. Well, they did falter, but other teams failed to capitalise. Despite winning just 3 of the first 9 games under Flynn, this coincided with an almighty collapse from Tranmere, with Swindon, Brentford and Yeovil all stumbling at the same time, leading to a 7-way battle for the title. Donny remained at the top of the table from March until the penultimate round of fixtures, where a loss at home to Notts County allowed Bournemouth, who seemingly came from nowhere, to have one hand on the trophy. Having looked like they'd thrown away the title, Donny now know that if they can hold out for a point, that'll be enough to seal 2nd place, which in of itself is difficult for any League One team to do this season, considering Brentford have the best home record in the league. But if anyone can do it away from home, Doncaster Rovers can. Donny currently holds the best away record not only in League One, but out of all of the top 4 divisions in the country. And oh, remember earlier when I said the penalty could affect all 3 clubs at once? Well, sitting just 1 point ahead of Doncaster in the table are already promoted AFC Bournemouth. Any slip up from them and Doncaster could win the title. Bear that in mind. Unfortunately, due to a ridiculous lack of footage anywhere online about this game, what I can tell you is that it was tense, nervy, and Brentford had their chances, but they struggled to break down a rigid Doncaster defence, whose game plan of holding out for a 0-0 draw worked for a majority of the game. Well, only for 94 minutes. A final minute effort from Brentford saw the ball eventually end up in Doncaster's box. A scramble occurred with both sets of players throwing all parts of their bodies at the ball, which led to Doncaster's Dean Furman leaving a high foot on Diego Garaga, leaving Michael Oliver no choice but to point to the penalty spot. All of Brentford's penalties this season have been split between 6 players: Sam Saunders, Clayton Donaldson, Harry Forrester, Paul Hayes, Kevin O'Connor and Marcelo Trotter. But Hayes is not in the squad, Forrester has already been taken off and Donaldson has missed both of his penalties. That leaves Saunders, O'Connor and Trotter, where the latter 2 have only taken 1 penalty all season. Marcelo Trotter has not relinquished the ball despite Uwe Rosler selecting Kevin O'Connor to take the pen, who we see here having to be taken away from Trotter. Well, it is Trotter who will take this penalty up against a 43-year-old backup keeper Neil Sullivan, who's in only his 4th game of the season so far. Here's the moment you've been waiting for. Take it away, Marcelo.
What a nervous moment this is for Trotter. He steps up, he's hit the bar, he's hit the crossbar and he's missed it. There's a right all scramble in the 6-yard box and it's cleared away by Doncaster.
On the last kick of the game, Doncaster clear the ball out of the box and out for a throw-in. Wait,
And it's cleared away to the halfway line, and the break is on, and Billy Painter's on the edge of the penalty area, and he can win promotion. Coppinger puts it into the empty net, and Doncaster have won promotion to the Championship. The flags go off in the away end.
did Billy Painter know that the ball would reach him at the halfway line? Or was he just waiting for the final whistle so he can avoid the inevitable pitch invasion? Either way, James Coppinger was just as alert, being at the right pace at the right time to slot it home into the empty net, giving Doncaster Rovers the promotion. And also, in Birkenhead, Bournemouth drew 0-0 with Tranmere, which meant Doncaster were the champions. As for Brentford, well, it's the playoffs. We both know what happened to them